And because the continent of Africa is not unified, then we can't have a global unification of the black diaspora.
What are you unified around?
That's something we could build. What is the purpose of Pan-Africanism if you're saying that unity is impossible?
Well, you said it as if I believe in Pan-Africanism. It's the most stupid, bogus thing anybody to even say.
But you spoke about worldview earlier, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what if our worldview was to uplift each other?
Whose worldview?
Black people.
Which black people?
All black people.
No, there is no such thing. You can't go to Asia and say all Asian people.
Well, why not?
I am telling you, this is the mistake. We are the only ones who walk the earth, and as soon as you see a black person at the airport, oh, brother. No, I'm not your brother.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, Jesus Christ. Have you gone to Europe and you had an Italian man calling a German brother?
Fuck them. What's wrong with me seeing you at the airport?
This is the problem.
You're going to have to explain it to me then.
Okay.
I don't get it.
Let me ask you. Let me tell you something. The story of Chaka the Zulu.
Chaka Zulu.
What was he famous for before they killed him? Tormenting fellow black tribes in that region.
Okay.
So that's the man you're going to unite with?
No.
Okay. I'm just telling you. We think that skin color makes you and me the same. We're not. I am from a small tribe called the Ajak tribe in Benin. Benin is only 6.5 million people with over 40 tribes. When I say tribe, I mean the language is like French and Chinese. I don't have anything in common with the 49 other people in my country. Nothing in common. They speak a different language. They have a different God, a different religion, different food, different forms of wear and culture, traditions and customs. We were forced, carved and say, remain here. He's not my brother. Now you're asking for a global brotherhood of all black people. Why would the black people be different from any continent? Europe is a global community of white people, but they don't go around saying brother and sister. Asia is a community of all yellow Asians in Asia. They don't go around calling each other brother and sister. Same with the Middle East, same with everywhere. Where only when it comes to black people you think we are all the same. We're not the same.
All right. Shalom Israel, first and foremost. To give our praise and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Kodash, the balance to the elders and the apostles of the great stone. Shalom to the brothers in the highways and the byways, preaching, teaching this word in sincerity and in truth. This is the brother Shapal from the Jamaica camp. And as you see in the video, it's a video today based upon skin color not being the key identifier of a race, right? And we said that I did a couple of videos in a couple of weeks back on the topic of the tier, and even basically just to simplify, people among us who have our skin color, you know what I mean, could be of another nation, and people who are of another skin color, you know, it could be an Israelite. And when we speak about, let me just say this first and foremost, for who don't know, we're the Hebrew Israelites, right? What the scripture speak of. We are the children of Israel, okay? And the tribes of Israel consist of you so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. And when we say you so-called Negroes, right, that was a name that was placed upon us, right, as bywords, right? There are three tribes that are so-called Negroes, right? What that means is they're darker in complexion, and that's the tribe of Levite, which is the Asians today. They were the priests with Judah, right, which is the head tribe, right? That's where the Lord Yahushai lineage comes from, right? The tribe of Judah. Also King Solomon, King David, right? And then you have the tribe of Benjamin. Now predominantly out here in Jamaica and through the Caribbean is where this tribe of Benjamin is scattered, right, according to prophecies, right? And Judah, I should mention that is the American Negroes, so-called, right? And oftentimes, because those tribes are darker in complexion, Then you have the Africans and the Ethiopians and all of these other nations. Everybody just group them up in one, and come to think that everybody is one and brother from you have the same skin color and whatever, man. But there are key differences in spirits, differences in culture and traits, ways, mindset, spirit, as I said before. Now, let me read this from Exodus 11. Matter of fact, I spoke about the scattering, so I think I should even, before I go Exodus, let me just get the Exodus 11 and verse 7 say, but against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue, right, against man or beast, that ye may know how that the Lord doeth to put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel. Right? The Lord had put a difference between what the Egyptians and Israel. Now, the Egyptians, who are the Egyptians? Let me just go into this. Say, Egyptians, that word there should be Mizraim. Mizraim. Right? It's a country at the northern section of Africa. Right? Adjacent to Philistine, and through which the Nile flows. Right? It's a pronoun located. It's definition 2 is the inhabitants of what? Native of Egypt, or natives of Egypt. Right? Mizraim, going back to Egypt. Right? They are the Egyptians. Right? Mizraim. Right? Israel. Right? Israel, which is Yasharallah, right, in the Hebrew. It's the second name of Jacob, right? To him by whom Jacob given to him by God after his wrestle with the angel at Peniel. Right? The name of the descendant of the nation of descendants of Jacob, right? And it goes on, right? And Judah goes on, Judah come out of the lineage. No matter of fact, let me get I wanted to show you before I get the evidence in the tables of nation. Let me just go to Deuteronomy, because I mentioned the scattering. Alright, the main reason why we're over this side of the world. Alright, let me see. Let's start here. So, this is Deuteronomy 28 verse 68. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into captivity again with ships, by the way whereof I spoke unto thee, and they shall see it no more again, and they shall be sold to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. Right? So the scripture says, we shall go into Egypt, shall bring thee into the Egypt again with ships. Once we live out of Egypt, we never go back, and everybody know the Egyptian captivity. Once we're in Egypt, we never go back. That's why the scriptures speak a while ago about in ancient Egypt, the Lord had put a difference between the Egyptians and Israel, right? Because both were of dark skin. Right? The Egypts come out of the lineage of Ham. And we're going to get that. And we came out of the lineage of Shem. Right? Noah had 3 sons after the flood. Noah 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Those were where the nation sprung. And we, as I said before, is of the nation of Shem. And the Africans or the Egyptians, the Cushites, Canaanites, where's from Ham. Alright? It says, and by the way whereof I spoke unto thee. Right? So we are going to come into Egypt again with ship. We never go back into Egypt. Speaking about this Egypt. Egypt go back to Matazaria, right? Which means a position of difficulty, right? Or slavery. But I remember scripture also mentioned Egypt, the house of bondage, over and over in the scripture, because that's where we face hardcore bondage. And this dispensation of time and what the scripture is speaking about here in Deuteronomy 28 and 68. It's speaking about the transatlantic slave trade, right? And in the America, where the scripture speak of that place which is spiritually called Sodom and Egypt, which carry that same spirit of Egypt and Sodom, right? This is where the scripture is speaking about. So this is prophecy that we were going to come over this side of the world. Now, since we're over this side of the world, scripture says we're not going to see the land no more. We'll be sold to bondmen and bondwomen, right? And no man shall buy us, right? Another scripture speak about we shall be called shall be a bywords and proverbs and bywords. Let me see where that was. I think it is just give me a moment. Let me just type it here. Alright, so this is, I believe it's right, 37. Actually passed it. Right, so Deuteronomy 28 verse 37 says, it says, and the Lord, start verse 36, it says, and the Lord shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, right, unto a nation that neither know nor thy fathers have known, right? And there thou shalt serve other gods, wood, even wood and stone, and thou shalt be an astonishment and a proverb and a byword among all nations, whither the Lord shall lead thee, right? So we're going to be byword, man, you know, proverbs, which are Negroes, you know, niggers and, you know, wetback speaks and all of those things, man, right? Where the Lord shall save us, shall scatter us, it's like it. So that further show that we, it's like, yeah, come over here, right? And because America is this big melting pot where every nation run to, you know what I mean? You have Africans who actually come here, right? And they don't look at us as brothers, right? We're totally different, okay? And they know that. Now, let me say this because a lot of our people fled Roman persecution in 70 AD and fled to Northern Africa, right? In those parts of Africa, West Africa and all those areas, man, you know? And a lot of our people are still there. You have the Ashanti tribe, the Igbo, and all of those, you know, people they are Israelites, you know. And if you know the history, it was basically the Jews, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, the darker skinned tribe were left after the split of the kingdom with Jeroboam, right? And because the southern kingdom were already over this side of the world, the Americas, you know. And if we basically, you still have a lot of our people in that part of Africa just the same, right? But there's a difference. As you say, as the scripture made, the Lord had put a difference between Israel and the Egyptian, right? You can see an Israelite and know that's a Jacob, right? You can know that's Jacob right there, man. And you can say Ham, you know that that's Ham, because it's two different spirits. Scripture mentioned Israel as the salt of the earth, you know, the flavor of the whole earth. That's how you know. That's one of the reasons you know, man. Right. Now let me get this is Genesis 10 and verse 1. Let me just read verse 1. It says, and these are the generation of the sons of Noah, right? Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Unto them were sons born after the flood. So these were the sons, right? And it starts with Japheth, Gomer, Magog, and so on and so forth. But we just we'll get to the point at hand. In verse 6, and the son of Ham, Cush, and what? Mizraim. Here we have Mizraim again, right? And Put and Canaan, right? So Mizraim again, that's the Egyptian. Put and Canaan, right? And the son of Cush, Sebar, you know, and it goes on and on and on. But we just want to show you that there's two different spirit, even though there are two brothers, you know, there are two different lineage, and that can happen, and it already happened in the scripture, right? Verse 22, right, in Genesis 10, it says the children of Shem, Elam, Asher, Arphaxad, Lod, and Haram, right? So the children of Haram, Uz, Hol, and Gether, and Mashed, right? And Arphaxad begot Selah, and Selah begot Heber. And Heber, which go back to ancient, I do believe, you know, that's where the Hebrews came from, right? That's where Hebrew came from. And that's why you have Hebrew, Israelite. The Edomites are also Hebrew. And you have Elam, just the same, you know, Moab, you know, and so on and so forth. Came out of the lineage of Shem. So this is where we came, right? Out of the lineage of Shem, right? He says, and Arphaxad begot Selah, and Selah begot Heber, right? And if you follow the lineage and do the research, you know, it will go back to Jacob. And once you go back to Jacob, you know, say, you know, it goes back to Jacob, you know what I mean, and then it goes to the 12 tribes of Israel, and then out of that came, you know, Judah, Benjamin, Levi, and all of those, you know. So that's the lineage here, man, and it's two different things. Now one would say, okay, so but it's the same brother, so it's the same and whatever, but as I said before, the Lord had already shown that, and it's even like they are identical or anything like that, you know. It's just nations were created individually, you know, with two different spirits. Let me get this is, I'm checking, okay, here it is, Romans 9, let's see, all right, this is Romans 9, all right, this is Romans 9, and this is an example, right? It says Romans 9 and verse 10, it says, and not only that, but when Rebekah also was had conceived by one, even by our father Isaac, right? For the children, and this is where the birth of Esau and Jacob, right? Which Jacob is our forefather, right? This is where his birth came in. So it says, for the children being not yet born, neither having done any good nor evil, that the purpose of Yahweh according to the election might stand, not of works, but of him that calleth. It was said, the elder shall serve the younger. It says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved, and Esau have I hated. Let me see where I wanted. I think I read up. Alright, so this is what I wanted. Genesis 25 verse 23, Slakia. It says, and the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people, right, shall be separated from thy bowels, right, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, right, and the elder shall serve the younger. Slakia. Yeah, and the elder shall serve the younger. Now, bring out the scripture because Shem, Ham, and Japheth were actually brothers, you know. They were different, and they bring forth nations with different spirits. You know what I mean? So we're not like the Hamites, you know. We're not like the Japhites, you know. We're Shemitic, right? And even within the realms of Shem, right, the 12 tribes of Israel is basically different, right? Because not because we're Hebrew, right? You do have Hebrew Edomites, and as I said, that Elam just the same on all of those nations, you know what I mean? That came out of Shem, you know, but you have a different spirit. So you know, it's not because of skin color, man, right? You know, over time intermingling with each other, and you know what I mean, you may have a nation of another color and it's just the same. You know, the spirit is the same, right? Or you come to find out that they are Israelites, you know. So you can't, the skin color doesn't determine your race. You know, that's the whole point. You know, you can't determine the race based off of a skin color, right? It's basically more spiritual than that, man. Right? And I think it was Johann F. Blumenbach reading the book Nature Knows No Color Line. You know, those same points have been made in that book, and I think I'm going to do a lesson on that, you know, out of the book as soon as as soon as I have that book in hand, you know. So with that, you know, I want to give out praise and glory to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, Bahashem Kodash, Abana to the elders and apostles, a great stone. Shalom to the brothers and highways and byways, preaching and teaching His word in sincerity and in truth. Shalom.